My husband asked me for a divorce between candlelight, champagne, and a plate of duck confit that cost more than a week's worth of groceries. We were at La Toile, a French restaurant in Polanco where the waiters spoke softly and couples pretended they never fought. It was our 8th anniversary. I was wearing the black dress Rodrigo had given me for Christmas, the one he said made me look like the most elegant woman in the city. I had curled my hair, put on the perfume he liked, and arrived believing that maybe, that night, we would recover something we had been losing. Because I had noticed. I wasn't stupid. For 6 months, Rodrigo had been coming home late from the office, changing the password on his phone, stepping out onto the balcony to take calls, and sleeping with his back to me. But I told myself it was stress. That his job at the finance firm was eating him alive. That every marriage goes through cold seasons. That night, his smile never reached his eyes. He checked his watch every few minutes. His phone kept vibrating on the table, and each time, he turned it face down as if he were hiding a weapon. Rodrigo, what is going on? He drank his champagne in one swallow. The glass trembled slightly in his hand. Francesca, I need to tell you something. I felt my heart stop before even heard the sentence. I fell in love with someone else. The noise in the restaurant turned into distant water. A man was laughing at the next table. A couple was taking pictures of their desserts. And I was staring at my husband, the man I had bought a house with in Coyoacán, painted walls with, assembled furniture with, adopted a dog with, and planned to have children with. Her name is Natalia, he continued. She works in investment analysis. She moved here from Monterrey 6 months ago. I did not look for this. It just happened. It just happened. As if cheating were rain. As if 8 years of marriage could simply get wet and be forgotten. I said nothing. He was waiting for screaming. Tears. A scene that would make him feel hunted instead of guilty. But I sat still, my napkin folded neatly across my lap. I am going to ask you for a divorce, he said, faster now. I already found an apartment in Condesa. I can move this weekend. I want us to handle this like adults. The house, the accounts, everything. We can talk calmly. That was when I understood this was not a confession. It was a notice. Rodrigo had already packed away parts of his life while I was still buying coffee for 2. Since when? He swallowed. I don't want to hurt you with details. I almost laughed. How considerate. Destroying me without details. The waiter approached with dessert menus and froze when he felt the tension at our table. Later, I said, standing up. Rodrigo stood too. Fran, wait. We have to talk about the logistics. Logistics, that was what he called the corpse of our marriage. Not tonight. I walked out of the restaurant with me back straight. I did not cry at the entrance. I did not cry while ordering an Uber. I did not cry when I saw him through the window paying the bill, uncomfortable, as if I had ruined his dinner. But when I got home, I saw that his side of the closet was half empty. On the dresser, there was a notie. I'm staying with David for a few days. I'm sorry for how it ended. Not sorry for betraying you. Not sorry for lying to you. Sorry for the inconvenience of the ending. I opened the tablet we shared for house photos and saw messages coming in from his synced account. Natalia, did you tell her? I don't want to keep waiting. Your wife has to accept that the house needs to be sold. I sat on the bed, still wearing the black dress. My hands stopped shaking. I took screenshots of everything. Messages, dates, names. Then I called an emergency locksmith. The next morning, when Rodrigo tried to open the door with his key and could not, he texted me furiously. Did you change the locks? I answered with one sentence. Your clothes are in a box outside. Everything else goes through lawyers. The first few days felt like living inside a haunted house. Every mug held a memory. Every wall kept an echo of laughter. Every corner threw back a version of me that still believed in Rodrigo. My friend Alicia arrived with coffee, sweet bread, and the kind of anger that held me up when I could not hold myself together. That bastard doesn't deserve one more tear from you. I have already cried too many, I told her. She hugged me in the kitchen, right where Rodrigo and I had once chosen tiles on an ordinary Sunday, back when life still felt like ours. A week later, I went back to the office. At the marketing agency, everyone pretended things were normal, but their eyes followed me down the hallways. Then Miguel, someone I knew from Rodrigo's finance firm, asked to speak with me. Francesca, I am sorry. The thing with Natalia did not start recently. I went still. How long? Since February. Hotels, long lunches. Fake work trips to Querétaro. Some office suspected it. February. 6 months. Half a year of kissing my forehead while he booked hotel rooms with someone else. That night, I reviewed bank statements. There they were, jewelry stores, restaurants, hotel nights in the same city where we lived. I also found transfers to an account I did not recognize and furniture purchases for the new apartment. I took screenshots of everything. Not for revenge, not yet, but because pain without proof is only a scream. With proof, it becomes a defense. Rodrigo texted me 3 weeks later. My lawyer will contact you. I hope we can be adults. Adults. As if adulthood meant abandoning your wife with elegance. The divorce proposal arrived in a cold email. He wanted to force the sale of the house, keep more than half of our savings, and claim investments that, according to him, he had built alone. When my attorney, Mariana, read the papers, she raised one eyebrow. Your husband does not want a divorce. He wants to rob you. Then let's not let him. I gave her everything, the messages, the hotels, the charges, the transfers, the photos of his new apartment. Mariana smiled like someone who could finally see the whole map. We are going to answer with teeth. We had him formally served at his apartment in Condesa. That afternoon, he called me. Was it really necessary to make it so formal? As formal as hiding a mistress for 6 months? He went silent. You do not understand. Natalia made me realize he was not happy. No, Rodrigo. You were not unhappy, you were a coward. I hung up. The first real twist came 1 month later. Natalia texted me from an unknown number. We need to talk. He lied to me too. I agreed to meet her at a cafe in Roma, more out of curiosity than compassion. She arrived without perfect makeup, with dark circles under her eyes and restless hands. He told me you had been separated for a year, she confessed. He told me the house was already for sale, and that you refused to sign out of spite. She placed her phone on the table. There were messages from another woman. A flight attendant. Hotels in Guadalajara. Dinners. The same phrases, the same promises. I did not feel jealous. I felt relief. Rodrigo had not found true love. He was just repeating the same fraud with a different face. Thank you for telling me. Natalia cried. I was such an idiot. No. You were part of my pain. But now you can decide not to keep being part of his lie. When I left that cafe, I sent everything to Mariana, she replied almost immediately. With this and the hidden accounts, his whole performance falls apart in court. That night, for the first time since the dinner in Polanco, I slept 6 hours straight. The hearing was in April. Rodrigo arrived in a blue suit, with a tired face and a confidence that did not last 20 minutes. His attorney tried to describe the separation as the natural wear and tear of a relationship. Mariana waited in silence until it was our turn. Your Honor, this was not wear and tear. This was concealment of assets, use of marital funds to maintain an extramarital relationship, and a settlement proposal designed to harm my client. She laid out the hotel charges, the jewelry purchases, the furniture, the transfers, the investment accounts Rodrigo had failed to disclose, and the messages where he and Natalia discussed pressuring me to sell the house. The judge looked at him coldly. Mr. Herrera, did you fail to disclose these investments? Rodrigo stammered. They were personal projects. During the marriage, with income earned during the marriage, Mariana said. And while he was asking for most of the shared savings. The second blow was Natalia. She walked in as a witness. Rodrigo's eyes widened as if he had seen a ghost. He told me he was already separated, she testified. He also asked me to pressure Francesca into selling the house because he needed liquidity. Later, I discovered he was seeing another woman at the same time. I did not look at him. I did not need to see his face to know he was collapsing. The judge ordered a division more favorable to me because of concealment and bad faith. The house stayed in my name, with an adjustment I could pay by refinancing. Rodrigo lost his claim top part of the undisclosed investments and had tonsure for expenses made with shared money for his affair. As we left the courthouse, he caught up with me in the hallway. Fran, this was not what I wanted. I stopped. No. You wanted to betray me and still have it come cheap. I loved you. I looked at him for the last time. Asha's wife. Maybe. But you lied to me better than you loved me. He did not write to me again for months. The house, which at first had felt like a mausoleum, began to change. I painted the living room olive green, sold the bed, changed the lamps, and filled the dining room with plants. Where our photos used to hang, I put up pictures he had taken while walking alone through the city, jacaranda trees on Reforma, a woman selling flowers in Coyoacan, rain on the cobblestones of San Angel. I also changed jobs. A larger marketing firm offered the chance to lead a regional team. I accepted. Not because I wanted to prove anything to Rodrigo, but because, for the first time in years, I could choose without asking anyone's opinion. The pain did not disappear overnight. Some mornings, a smell, a song, or a forgotten mug still split my chest open. I went to therapy. I joined a group of divorced women. I learned that betrayal does not only break love. It breaks your trust in yourself. And rebuilding that takes more than signing papers. 1 year after that dinner, I did something everyone told me was crazy. I booked a table for one at L'Etoile. I wore a red dress, nothing like the black one from that night. I sat at a table by the window and ordered champagne. The waiter asked, "Are you waiting for someone?" I smiled. No. Today I came with myself. I ate slowly. I tasted every bite I had been unable to taste that night. At the end, I raised my glass toward the empty chair across from me. Not for Rodrigo, but for the woman who had walked out of that restaurant without screaming, even though she had every right to fall apart. Sometimes people think silence is weakness. But my silence was the first wall I built between his cruelty and my dignity. Months later, Rodrigo sent me a message. "I owe you a real apology. I was a coward. I lost the best thing I had. I took a full day tonsure. Thank you for recognizing that. I hope you find peace with your choices." It was not complete forgiveness. It was freedom. I no longer needed him to suffer in order to feel that I had healed. Today, I am 33 years old. I live in my apartment overlooking the trees, lead a brilliant team, and on Saturdays, I teach a workshop for women who are rebuilding their lives after betrayal. I tell them something I learned the hard way: you cannot always stop someone from breaking your heart, but you can decide they do not get to keep your voice, your home, or your future. Rodrigo thought that dinner was the end of my story. He was wrong. It was the first page where I finally appeared as the main character.